welcome each and every one of you. With you today is me, Daiga, multilinguistic international coach therapist from DCT Center, and joining me is Elizabeth Fortune, conscious, intuitive, clairvoyant. Elizabeth solves, sees, and serves people, animals, nature, and rising consciousness. And she is much, much more, and she will tell you all about herself in a minute. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi there, Daiga.
It is such a pleasure to have you on my show. I've been waiting this for months and months and months. And hopefully seems this is the right timing when you are agreed to come on my show. Thank you. Thank you for this honor.
Well, thank you for the experience. It's going to happen more and more. I am being told by the guides. hmm
You have so much to share to people, so you need be seen by many, many more and approach many more, not just one-to-one sessions. And while we are on this subject, I want to tell everybody and remind everybody that we both taking in private clients. All contact details for Elizabeth will be down below video, so you can straight away see all her contact details. And I'm taking in private clients for coaching and therapy sessions. So if you are in the stress, if you have problems, if you lost in this confusing times, please contact us and we will try to help you out. Okay, Elizabeth, can you tell me please what you bring for us today?
Well, what's happening for me is happening for everyone. And it's like, are we listening to our own guidance? Are we listening to the vibrations of our future? Our vibrations of the past, and right here in this moment. We're multidimensional beings, and we're in a courageous, outrageous timing in our choice to be here on Earth. And I am here to support people to remember who they are, to know who they are with faith and trust and a knowing that puts them into action to do what they've come here to do. So,
Elizabeth, sorry I jump in for a minute. Maybe let's start. Nobody from my viewers know about you. So maybe you start with telling people where you coming from, how you came to be who you are at the moment. So wise soul who can teach everybody and you are so knowledgeable. Really don't even have words to describe how much knowledge is in you. Yeah, how you became to be this knowledgeable soul, how it's all started.
the process of finding out, remembering, discovering who I am is now what I teach. So, what happened for me is that um, as far back as I can remember, I was a seer, clairvoyant, seer, intuitive, and I didn't know those words. I didn't know I was doing what I was doing yet. Um, uh, it was there, and I believe it's there with everyone, and it gets shut down. And what happened with me is I listened to my inner experiences, my inner knowing, rather than listening to a parent or to people. And so I started listening to my guidance, which I teach people how to do, how to return to that intuitive knowing. And I just dealt with the experiences that I was having in my life. there was a theme throughout from the very beginning: stay out of the boxes, don't get trapped. And anytime there was a group, social group, human groups, you know, what happens in schools and the such, I was told, don't get trapped, don't join groups, you'll enter a box. And don't, I mean, cliques were boxes. And so I started to be quite an observer and pretty much alone in my own little world. And I had each of my experiences taught me more of the depth of who we really are, or who I was. So it's taken all these years for me to learn, experience, and accept who I am, because I was different. Call me a black sheep. And now I'm finding out the black sheep are those who are awake, and who are the star seeds, who are those who have come from the future to help humanity, and even star seeds who are still asleep. And you know, to help them wake up, and for this is the time for them to go into action. And what that action is inside of them, and it's in their own knowing. They have to trust that knowing and have faith in it in order to listen, to know the actions that they're to take, how to follow intuition. And intuition is just it's far more than what's out there in the books, far more than in my experience of what it is to. It's a language with soul, it's a language with God. And it is how to track it, how to be patient, how sometimes answers don't come right away, you know, and we can tend to be angry or impatient. So I can share some stories that were teaching stories to give an example that
Yes, please.
I trust the dreams. The dreams have been primary teachers for me. The guides come through, the angels come through, and I wake up with the knowing. So when I go to sleep, it's almost, if I have a question, I'll put out that question before going to sleep. And I know I'm going to go to school at night. And so I'm quite aware now, in particular with these times right now, I, it's like the nighttime is travel time, and it's work. It's work. And to really follow your intuition is a commitment, it's a discipline, it's a focus, and it's work. And so it's not just something out there that you put on like a jacket or something. So some of the stories, to give an idea, is that they were always metaphoric. There was one time I was on a boat, and I was involved with dolphins and whales for 9 years, all through the dreams, and then it became physical experiences. And maybe I'll digress and just share that I would have a dream, for example, and I would hear, come down to the beach, and I would wake up in a particular beach, a particular lifeguard station, and go right in front of it and come to the water. And so it was very clear. So I woke up kind of in a lucid way, and I I did go down. It was dark. I down there, and there was a dolphin, and the dolphin basically said, "Bring us the children." And the children are us. And so, bring us the children so they can remember. So, to take people to dolphin and whale consciousness, which is Christ consciousness, and to be in the water would help their cellular memory, their DNA sparked to memory of who they are. And it may not come all at once. They would be seeded with memory to maybe be have whatever they were seeded with happen years later, which is what happened to me. Another time I was on a boat related to dolphins, and I was in a bunk, and I wake up in the night and I'm being told, go to the deck. And I said, it's cold. I don't think I want to go up there. and so I tried to go back to sleep. And then the message was, come to the deck. And I begrudgingly got out of bed and went up to the deck, and it was extremely cold. And they said, "Look up." So I looked up, and there was this bright star, and I just stared at the light of that star, and it was so gorgeous that it encompassed me. Then somebody came onto the deck, and I said, "Do you know what that star is?" And they said, "It's Regulus." And I said, "Wow." And I later, part of the travels of intuition and telepathy and clairvoyance is you have to do the work. You have to do the research of what you find. So I was doing all the research around Regulus. And the stories of that star affected my life. So that's kind of how you track what happens. And the Regulus is the heart of the lion, and in heart of Leo, the constellation. But I am very connected with the lion and the symbology around lion. And to be called by the heart of the lion was a symbol for me, a message for me that I was being called by the heart of the lion, the celestial lions. So this led years later where I was kind of guided by Regulus, the heart of the lion, to go visit the white lions in South Africa. So this is why I was not to get involved with any grouping, because it would trap me. It would trap me in discovering who I am, which is the purpose of being here right now. Each of us have to know who we are. If we know who we are, it sets us free. We have to be set free. And the only way is to know who you are. And most people don't know who they are. So part of my role is to help people remember who they are. Some people are from the future, and they were called to come here for a particular purpose. They won't know that purpose unless they know who they are, because it's not in any college, any school, any book, anything other than inside the heart and soul of that individual. I am here to help people remember who they are. And as they remember who they are, they can take action. Their personality can come forward and help, but it's really listening to the divine and being in co-creation, co-creation with soul, and that's your link to the divine. So back to the stories. Another incident is when um, I was very upset about what I was doing, and the effectiveness in my drive was to, and focus was, if I'm going to put out energy, I want to put out energy in the location of biggest effect. You know what I mean? So it's like if I'm going to teach a class, and I did, it's like, I, if I, it's like, what class is going to be the most important class to have the most effect on the world? And there isn't. It all comes back to the self, knowing the self. So when I did teach in the elementary school, like a third grade, fourth grade, the full focus is, you're at third grade, you're at fourth grade. The biggest focus through me as your teacher is, you know who you are. You have faith in you and you have trust in you. So that's where I came with every class that I taught, every student. I ended up individualizing the curriculum for each child. So instead of one lesson plan, I had a program and a lesson plan, 30 of them, if I had 30 youngsters in my class. And so it was all individualized, and it was all towards the learning capability of that student. And if they had strengths, they were acknowledged as their strengths. If they had um, a weakness or issues in one area, it was emphasized, use your strengths to teach the where there's an issue. It worked. And thereby the principal uh, took me and asked me to be ahead of, we had learning disabled. Can you imagine a class labeled as learning disabled and another class says learning as gifted? And he put me in charge of both of them. I said, oh my gosh. So that taught me that the gifted were really having emotional issues because they didn't know what to do with their so-called gifts, and they were trapped in the system. The students that were learning disabled, I saw their gifts and their genius and their greatness. So I started teaching them that way, uh, through their gifts. And Lord and behold, the learning disabled entered the regular classes, and some of the regular class students that had been in the learning disabled passed the test for the so-called gifted. But I made sure that they were not into emotional turmoil, and which is the case because it's not directed into how to think, how to be creative, how to um, utilize your gifts in service and in alignment with the divine. And so this started up. I've actually, in the last number of years, I had a fourth grader I had, oh my God, in the 70s, and try to contact me and say, she reached me finally, and she said, that it was the best years of her life, that the way I taught the classes was how she raised her children and how she's treating her now grandchildren. And so she's still saying, I get a text from her probably once a week at least. And so that's kind of cool. And it just shows how important that way of teaching is. So I work with my clients or the people I have in classes uh, just the same way. That's the way I look at them, as gifted souls waking up and remembering who they are. And so, going back to a story I was going to share a few minutes ago, was the not being clear about the way the divine wanted me to take action. And so I was kind of saying some words that were not too nice to the divine and crying. And in the car driving with tears flowing down. And, what am I to do? Where do you want me to go? What's the focus? I need to know where I can make the biggest impact for the world. And so here I am driving. And then all of a sudden, I'm kind of guided to look over to the right. So I looked over to the right, and there was one of these semi trucks. And you know how they have artwork on the side for
Mm-hmm.
advertisement?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there on the side of the truck, it said, the letters were very clear. It said, "Set the angels free." And I said, "What? People are waking up." Um, and I knew the angels were us. Set the angels free. And so I said, I've got to see this again. I don't believe that people are awake like that. So I took the car and I just buzzed around some other vehicles going too slow. And I tried to catch up to the semi. And then I finally did. I got across from that and I looked over, and uh, and instead of "set the angels free," the words that were there were uh, "certified Angus beef." Certified Angus beef. And I said, "Oh, geez." And so this is one of the keys with intuition, is that you follow the if you look at the word "certified Angus beef" and "set the angels free," if you're looking at something, oftentimes you may not see what is really there, but you're seeing the other dimension of it. And that's what you pay attention to. And you have faith in it. Well, this whole thing of "set the angels free," um, I want to turn off this ringer, um, was you have to put it into action. So I had business cards and I immediately put it on my cards as what I do is I set the angels free. And so that was years and years ago. And sometimes when you're given input from the divine, it takes years to have it unfold to know what it really means. And so now, actually, in getting ready for here, I had some focus on a website, and I haven't been able to really do the so-called website that everybody has out there. And the reason why is the divine says you're going to learn more about yourself. It's not time. and it's a box. The way the websites are out there are boxes, and it's not always who somebody really is. And we're moving into a time right now to really know who we are and to take actions on an elevated plane that a lot of people are still asleep to. So, what that set the angels free means now is that for the first time, thank you, Daiga, the impetus for the show in a writing, I put set the angels free is totally connected with knowing yourself. Now, see, knowing yourself, I've been involved with all my life. Um, Set the angels free, I've been involved with half of my life, and so it's like um, uh, putting them together is the truth. And so now it's the name for my newsletter. It's know thyself. To know thyself is setting the angels free, because you can't set yourself free not knowing who you are. And knowing who you are is a primary focus. Then the setting the angels free is really your work, or it's your expression of who you are. So this whole way to communicate out there, it's like you have a knowing inside. I've had a knowing inside of what I was to do, but it wasn't clear. And it certainly was not an awareness. I just was living, following my intuition and following what the divine put towards me. In my loving to learn, which is a big aspect, is and listening is learning. Uh, I I would follow the divine and what I'm drawn to. And in the 70s, or actually in the 80s for sure, after the harmonic convergence, where there were huge energetic shifts, huge, more so than what people are aware. I, in my living, was drawn to sacred geometry, dolphins, cranial sacral. And so interfacing sacred geometry, cranial sacral work, and the dolphins changed my life. And open up universes of wisdom to me. Cranial sacral, if you don't know, has to do with linking the communication of different systems in the body with the spine, with center points at the back of the skull and the sacrum, your hip area, and linking to motion and balance and communication. So I tend to look at everything as a metaphor and an allegory. So if I study a cell, it really is messages of who I am and what my DNA is, the history, and um, its metaphor for geometry, metaphor for Christ consciousness, metaphor for health. And so, what's exciting right now is all the information that's out there for us to learn to know ourselves. It's like if we gravitate towards something, that's part of us. And we need to listen and pay attention to it. And we need to look at the synchronicities involved and to follow them. It really is a treasure map to the self. It's walking the rainbow path to your pot of gold, which is you. And it's quite exciting. And so uh, I'm starting to have groups where I want the focus, that the focus is knowing nice. It's not the degrees, it's not the courses, it's not any, it's like the resonance of the heart with the expression that's happening, and it's being done from the heart, the divine, the divinity of the heart, and it's not for money. Everyone's going to have tons of money. It's like, what are you doing that gratifies your soul? And then continue listening to the soul, and the soul will kind of dance with you. So I have a whole course that's called Ride Your Vision, and using the metaphors and the analogies of interacting with horses, and uh, their behavior and the exchange and everything. It fits totally with someone following their vision. But it's like, is it their vision or is it the divine vision? And there's a difference. And so I'm kind of jumping around here, but the um, going back to the education, I was drawn to anatomy. I was drawn to acupuncture in the meridians. I was an avid um, supporter of applied kinesiology, which is muscle testing, which totally taught me um, that everything, our truth of who we are, is in our body, and all we have to do, it's in our waters, and we have to ask, and we listen, and we can douse and muscle test, um, so that our body can tell you our truth, or tell us our truth. And that's exciting. So that I knew in the late 70s. And then the dowsing, where you listen to a pendulum or dowsing rods, but you're not getting into all the magic and the dark stuff. You're really going to your connection with the divine and listening. So I'm teaching that as well, for people to regain that they don't need the tools. They need to listen to the fluids of their body, their bones, their organs, and know who they are. And what's really important is the knowing how to focus and know how to build up the mind, so someone becomes a master of their mind. When they become a master of their mind, the divine is right there. They're able to focus, they're able to use these invisible powers, the invisible powers of intuition, imagination, and there are many of them. Uh, and our senses, there was um, a master, a teacher in Egypt, Egyptian, who said we had 360 senses. So start writing and listing what those are. But if we think we have 5, or even intuition is 6 senses, you subtract that from 360, how many do you have? There is a lot more of us that we don't know. So my role, coming from the future now, is to uh, help people to wake up and remember. I know I had hints that I'd come from the future because I had these abilities when I was very young, and they were nurtured when I was with animals, not with people. And it was nurtured by nature and with the trees because they would recognize me, then they would communicate. The animals would always communicate, and I would pick up where they were and would know what to do even when I was very young. I remember having a kitten stepped on in the porchway of where I lived as a child, and they thought it was dead. And I picked it up and used my hands, held the kitten, and did my child prayer, whatever it was, and the kitten survived. So it's like we have these abilities. So to go back to all the interest in our brain and our mind, that led me into psychology and biology. And I tried to go to osteopathic school, and I tried to go to chiropractic school, and I tried to go to advanced psychology schooling. And the divine came in, God came in and said, nope. The angels said, nope. You're to use these abilities in other ways. And thank God, look what's happened here. I would have been so brainwashed, so trapped. And even if I didn't know everything, I couldn't see the bigger picture totally. Yet I would have dreams, premonition dreams of what's happening right here, right now. I and I think what really carried me through the golden thread, the silver thread, etc., is faith. I am one of faith, and it's the faith in the divine, faith that we are more. So I would ask everyone to really maybe close your eyes and just have your feet on the floor and just breathe and just remember. And when was it that you last knew, really knowing that you were more? When did you know that you were more? More beautiful, more intelligent, more creative, more loving, more in joy? When did you know more? And now I would ask you, when was the first time that you knew without a doubt that you were more? More beautiful, more intelligent, the greatness of you. You knew that. When did you know that? When was the first time? So take a deep breath and
Do
just,
you want to answer this question to you?
well, it's first to tune in, and then I was going to ask you, um, what what did you receive, Daiga?
I first I want to say hello to Lila. Thank you for joining me. Lila is my viewer who is joining literally every single live video. So I'm very happy, Lila, you are with us. And please type in what you received, what answers on those questions you received. And for me, um I think I last night I that was the last one when I find I am something more because I have extremely strange last night. I went to bed at midnight, but I couldn't sleep. I was tossing, turning, trying sleep, and I think for first or maybe second time in my life, I had uh, uh, it felt like remote viewing or cyber traveling or something, because I was at one point I was in some sort of dungeons in like medieval castle dungeons, and that I completely see all those arcs of those dungeons. And then there arrived a sort of figure of dragon, something huge, something dragon like, and I knowingly put protection, bright white light protection around me, and I get out of there, yeah. But then I find that really I am able to stop even dragon if push come to shove, yeah. So that was like this last experience, and very first I think was in when I was about 14, and I joined amateur theater group. We've been making plays together with actually professional actors. Are people who was creating this group and leading this group was two professional actors. One was uh, like a director of theater, and another was actor, and they both bring in professionals. So I was playing on stage alongside with professional actors, yeah, and I get praised for things I did. And that was like, yes, I can do such things. I never know I can actually act and I can actually be beautiful and somebody actually can notice me, because I all the time felt like I'm nothing. I'm not beautiful, definitely. And I always struggle with self esteem and all rest of it. Yeah. And at that moment, it was the first time where I feel, yes, yes, I am. I am.
How old
And
how old were you with the first one, the acting one?
14,
Yeah, see? Yeah.
it take quite long time because always I was like, I struggle with my weight all my life because when I was little, I had hormone um, injections, which I am completely allergic to. I had huge illness, and they, as all this medicine, give me this hormone injections, and I was like growing enormously. I was twice my size
Hmm.
in matter of months, really. Yeah. So to get this weight down, it was problem, and all the time I hear from my family, yeah, don't eat sweets. You can't do this because you don't have this body, which one is so beautiful, yeah. You should be like this, you should be like that, yeah. And I already, without all my body problems, I already felt like I'm from some other planet. I never fit in family properly. Yeah.
Number, wait a minute, 15?
No, no, didn't fit in a family.
Oh, 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 yeah.
No, didn't fit in. I didn't feel like I belonged there and anywhere really. I was like in my own world, creating my own reality. But yeah, and then in this theater I found, yeah, really somebody is looking at me, somebody funny and somebody find me attractive and something. I really have something. Yes, it was like changing point. And now Lyle is giving us. I knew when I was about um, I knew when I was out of body in 94, floated up to ceiling and touch it, then straight back down in bed and felt my weight on the mattress.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow, that's experience, Lila. Oh my God.
So these are all examples that are true knowing before it's shut out of us or has been shut out is in these experiences. And now we're coming back that these experiences and the abilities 360 senses and massive number of intuition just isn't one ability. It's a multiple, it's multidimensional in and of itself, and it's how to track and move. And now this that you've experienced and Lila's experienced and I've experienced, now is the time to emphasize those abilities, not as something strange, but it's your life force to to the divine. It is time to emphasize those and look for them with people you work with or attract. And yeah, you'll be setting angels free. You yourself plus the, and you're always going to be, plus the people you work with is what I was going to say. But you'll always be on the search of who you are because it's evolving. I would not say I've come from the future before. Um, until recently, and maybe I would. I remember being told, um, you'll have to go deeper, deeper in the darkness to understand. You will have to forget more because we were all had like cracks in the cages where light came in, and we were told more of who we are. So, Daiga, I would somehow look at your life as a way of acting, or being with actors, and also take a deep look at why acting is important. What is it in acting that got your attention? And if it is pretending, um, that's different than true acting. So it's to really look at the depth of what draws you and look at the core. Like with me, I'm always looking for what is the bottom line of something, and go from there. And I'm always looking at metaphor and story and analogy as just like the way Christ would speak in his language of Aramaic. It would always be allegory and story, metaphor, and to go from there. And another true aspect, and what's her name, Lila, who's on the,
Lila,
yeah,
yeah,
is that really looking at the experience and remember the feeling, because the experience could be what it is, and it's the feeling that is holding the secret. What's the feeling of the acting? What is the feeling of being out of body? I was taken by the dolphins out of body multiple times, and and I would wake up in space with dolphins with me, and I would look back at Earth, and and the feeling was how massive everything was, and that I had the ability to float, I had the ability to fly, I had the ability with my consciousness to be with the dolphins and basically be multidimensional. That's not weird. That's not a fabricated imagination. That is real. It's real. Um,
Lila is responding, expanding feeling, no limits.
yeah, there's no limit with the feelings, but you get to know yourself when you look at the feeling and the dynamics of the feeling with you. For example, with the dragon, um, was the feeling fear. You felt you had to protect yourself. Whereas maybe there's the flip side of that dragon that is afraid, and you're there to protect it. So, whole other perception. So, a lot has to do with the perception. And is our perception coming from our past, or do we expand and bring in perceptions of our imagination or perceptions of the future? It really is all a lot of fun. So, and it's like a treasure map. And if you just look at um, being on the treasure map and you're following the jewels, you have this experience, and then you have another experience, you have that dream, and you had that insight in a dream, and they're all jewels. And you're on the rainbow path to your gold. And that's what's happening. Everything is turning blue to gold.
I don't really know. I 100% understand who I am in terms of where I coming from and everything. I don't know. I have ideas, but I'm not 100% sure. But but I do know what I have to do. You are more know about this because you already here when I was talking in Humani Pro about this that I had this calling. I had this calling and I know for sure I'm here to help people to move through ascension, to help them, support them. I have all skill set to support them to move through ascension. And me building this channel is one of the tools how I can reach more people at the same time and involve so knowledgeable people like you to help me out with this.
Well,
Because alone I can't do anything. I have my knowledge, of course, every program, every show, what I'm doing, I'm bringing in my knowledge as well. But I bringing in knowledgeable people. I bringing in lots of skill sets who can help.
yeah, and just to reflect that what you're doing with the show is acting. You're acting. So bring them together, and you can meet whoever you choose to meet. And it's a free stage. You're really on stage, Daiga. So,
I think all my life, all my past life actually prepare me. Like I didn't become actor. I'm not in films. I'm not on the stage. Yeah. Okay, I was acting from 14 till 18 of age. Yeah. 4 years I was in this studio and I was on stage, but that wasn't my profession. That wasn't my life on end.
It wasn't your calling. Whereas where you are now, you have more freedom. Do you understand? You're not in a trap. You have
Yeah.
your platform. You can call in other actors, actresses, um, to help.
Participate in.
Yeah, to be in the story. So we've created a story here with what we're doing right here. And so it's beautiful if we would relax and love ourselves. It really is a measure of how much we love ourselves. The gates will open if we put affirmations out of drawing from the spheres of abundance in the universe, and it's all there. All doors are open, all channels are free. We've got it right there. And so it's a matter of faith, what I said earlier, having faith in who you are. So more you know, we're like a detective, we're an investigator. We have an experience with a person or with an animal or in our life. And if we really listen to how we resonate, how we feel, or where there is not truth, then um, we'll be guided to know ourselves more. That trip of knowing who we are will never end, not to our last breath. It is continuous and it's evolving. I just want to
You
say,
think,
uh-huh.
do you think when we ascend, we not going to wake up one morning and we know who we are and why we are here for sure?
No, it's there could be a huge awareness, like um, memories of life's past and uh, memories of the future. Like Anna, who I live with, incredible soul, has memories of
Is wonderful.
flying spacecraft, and we met in that where she crashed, and I as an angel I came down to help her, but that was way 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 in the future, and it's now too. So, and a consciousness of the timelines, that there are multiple timelines happening right here right now, and that will help you understand, like an individual that you know could be dead in one timeline but could be alive in another timeline, and it's where you're putting your consciousness timeline, but still your soul is eternal. So getting to know yourself is getting to know you. Okay, it really is.
Getting to know you.
Yeah, uh, it really is. I cannot say how much fun it is. It is a treasure map. And with
And sorry, Elizabeth. Lila is giving us comments. Sometimes I know what the person is going to say 2 seconds before they speak.
yep, that's one of her. That's her skills. That's called telepathy and intuition. That's part of it. So that's cool. And it's like I taught a kid. I kept looking for the grade where I could have the most effect. And so I ended up I thought the earlier I could go, I ended up with a kindergarten class. And they, mind you, I was pre med. and I was in rooms surrounded by formaldehyde and blood and dissecting this and that. And I said, no, I don't think I want to be doing this. And I want the medical knowledge. And so I come out and I'm looking at children playing in a playground in the distance. And I said, that's where I'll go. I'll teach. And I didn't want to be in the college where I was. So I tried to get out. And my mother said, I'll disown you if you do. Because she did later anyway. So it didn't matter. But it's like, I went there. I said, okay, I'm not going to continue pre med. I will just go with the best teachers. And I happened to be, a debate team and English literature and etc. And I said, oh my gosh, but the teacher was great. And so it's just following the feeling, follow your feelings of what resonates with you, and you won't go wrong. So, but anyway, in the kindergarten class, these kids would come in, these little kids, and I could see their wings because they're all angels, and I see their wings, and some of the wings, some of them only had one wing. Some wings were crippled and couldn't open up. So there they were. That told me there they were at kindergarten, and they've already been traumatized into a little corner of darkness. And so I said, okay, we're going to unfurl the wings. Let's see, how can we do it with these little guys? And these are huge angels in little tiny bodies. And so that's true with everyone. Everyone is an angel. You just look and then you ask to kind of your own telepathy. And okay, you can douse this. You can douse the wings. The wings are there. And you can just see, and your thoughts can help whatever situation is there. And nothing is stronger than love, for sure, in any kind of healing. So with the kids and with college, I got interested in the brain and the mind, and I even dissected, oh my gosh, a brain and everything to find out. And so it's that the healer, the medical part of me. And so the work of some incredible people, I related to the powers of the brain to help the mind evolve. And that's my expertise. That's what I focus on, to have people focus on their brilliance and greatness and knowing who they are so they can be set free. If they don't know who they are, they're not free. And so, and it's about focus, about the use of the thinking and our heart and our energy that we can spread out to the universe right where we are, and having faith. We're all watched over. We're deeply watched over and deeply loved. And I'm going to, for those who are part of my telegrams or part of the newsletter, I really want to encourage people to sign up for the newsletter so I can share the research and what's happening. And there
All your details, how to sign up, all your details, what you send me is below the video. So people who are watching our video on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter live at the moment, and obviously afterwards, they will have your details and they can sign up for it.
Well, I would encourage going to the website, signing up for the newsletter and sending me a message. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
I'll answer. So that's it's
I
beautiful.
think, is there anything else what you want to tell our viewers? Because we already 5 minutes past hour. So, is there anything else what you want to tell our viewers today?
The most important is to love who you are. Anytime you sense anything other than loving who you are, to take yourself into your own self nurturing time, to love yourself, to discover who you are, and you will be set free for the days ahead. The days ahead will become very intense. Our ascension is Earth's ascension, and ascension is a memory. And allowing that memory of who you really are to express yourself freely in full expression, in safety, and in love.
Lila is responding, thank you both for good advice and great show. Love from Norway. Thank you very much, Lila, for following me. Thank you for your greatness and always very encouraging messages to me. Thank you. Uh, on that note, I want to say thank you very much for everybody who watching my shows. Please like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, please subscribe to my Telegram channel because there you can get more updates than usual on Facebook. I'm pretty much off Facebook at the moment because it's no point posting what I want to post because Facebook is just stopping you. So I'm posting mostly only on Telegram at the moment. So please sign up for my Telegram channels where I can give you updates about everything what's going on. And if you like my work, you can donate to my PayPal account, which is below the video. So thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you,